A bunch of new Star Trek shows seem to be kicking off. Picard decides to break a few records, and we've got a bunch of new Star Trek stories we got to cover. Let's pour it in! Hey everybody, Ketwolski here, checking in with another one of our hashtag Earl Grey Pour Up videos. So I'm going to try to return the Earl Grey Pour Up to a little bit of its normal stance of being kind of a news coverage show. I think in my haste to try to change a few things with the channel and doing different ideas that I want to do outside of the channel, the Earl Grey Pour Up kind of got lost in the sauce a little bit. It's kind of quickly turned into just the Picard discussion show, which is not what the original intent of the Earl Grey Pour Up was. So I'm going to do my best to keep those things kind of separated for right now, kind of moving forward and try to clean up the channel a little bit. So hopefully you guys will still be able to get some news from me and some good Picard review discussions and then Discovery and all the other ones as they kind of come on. But I want the Earl Grey Pour Up to still kind of focus on the news. So hopefully that this will clear some things up. I apologize for making things a little bit confusing. Some people seem to be confused as to what the Earl Grey Pour Up was doing, but I'm going to try to fix that and kind of get back a little bit to the norm. Okay, so the first story that we're going to be covering today is actually a bit of information regarding two shows in production for the Star Trek universe. The first one, of course, being Section 31, which is codenamed Wind Cleaver. According to Production Weekly, this show has, in fact, gone into pre-production. And if you look at the Ontario Directors Guild hot list, this thing is listed as being in production from May 2020 to November 2020, with possibly releasing after just the first of the year for 2021, which is kind of replacing Picard, how Picard released at the beginning of this year. So it looks like they're maybe potentially trying to slot Section 31 into that time slot for next year. But this has confirmed that the show has entered pre-production. We've already got some news regarding this, about how they pulled some of the production staff away from Discovery to begin working on Section 31 to kind of get it off the ground. But these little bits of information are clear indication that the show has entered pre-production. Casting has begun. Scripts are probably being turned in. Sets are probably being built, costuming and all that jazz. All those things are kind of happening right now. So it definitely looks as though in May of this year, we will be seeing probably some set photos and maybe even a formal announcement of the show actually being filmed. And maybe we'll finally get some artwork of what the logo will look like and what the, title, screen will look like and all those kinds of cool, fun things from CBS. But because we haven't gotten anything official from them, the only thing we know is that it's Section 31, Michelle Yeoh is the star, and that it's kind of like the movie Unforgiven, which starred Clint Eastwood, which is like a Western. So that's all we've really got to go off of, but for sure that show is getting ready to kick off production here in May. The other show that's in production that we just kind of found out about, and I think I've talked a little bit about this in a different video, which is a confirmation that Star Trek Discovery Season 4 has also begun pre-production processes. Again, from Production Weekly, the codename Green Harvest was listed out as pre-production in relations to Star Trek Discovery Season 4. Now, it's unclear if they're going to be doing a full season, I'll freely admit that, or if they're going to be doing a truncated one, if they'll be doing some maybe like a mini movie type thing for CBS All Access and Netflix. It's unclear how they're going to be going about that, kind of going into, we haven't even seen Discovery Season 3 yet, but they're clearly set on the idea of having a minimum of 4 seasons for this particular show, which is great, I think. Hopefully that the Season 3 of Discovery kind of knocks it out of the park. It is essentially kind of a soft reboot in some regards because they're throwing the show super far out of its normal kind of flow of time and putting it way, way, way farther into the future than we've ever been, in kind of normal canon for Star Trek. So I'm very excited to see what they do, and hopefully it pans out for them and it really warrants that 4th season, and hopefully fans are really, really excited to see a 4th season and potentially even more than that. The next story that we're going to talk about is the fact that Picard, the show that just premiered last week, broke a few records across the board when it came out. Now, the first one is that Picard had the biggest audience for the CTV Sci-Fi channel ever recorded, with over 1 million same-day viewers for the premiere. That's the highest that particular channel piece, the sci-fi portion of the CTV channel, has ever had, which is just awesome. Additionally, on CBS All Access, the premiere was up more than 180% over the previous premiere record set by Discovery on CBS All Access. So this premiere really just took it way over in terms of the amount of people who were watching from the other premieres from Star Trek Discovery and also from the premieres on CTV Sci-Fi channel. So people were clearly very, very interested and very excited to see what was going on with the premiere of this particular show. Now, we haven't gotten too much information about the second episode drop off, which kind of does happen. It's kind of to be expected. A lot of people tune into the premiere premieres, and then they kind of see what's going on, and then they kind of say, okay, well, I'll watch this at the end when I can binge it, or I'll stick around, or maybe I don't really want to watch this, whatever it is. Now, the kind of drop-off is to be expected. It's very common for shows to experience that to some degree, so hopefully we get some more specific data on what the second episode was able to pull out, and if it was pound for pound better than the Discovery second episodes, or if it was kind of in line with those, or where it kind of falls into place there. Keeping with this theme of, Picard breaking records, it apparently also was deemed the primary force behind a record number of CBS All Access subscriber numbers in the month of January for 2020, increasing the total number of Showtime and CBS All Access subs to a reported 10 million subscribers, which is a new high. Now, the number itself is not hashed out between the Showtime and CBS All Access numbers, and it's not quite broken down into who's just gotten the free trial and who's actually paying for it, but this is another 2 million subscribers from the last reported one, which was a few months ago, from 8 million subscribers shared between the two streaming services. And I still think that they're going to wind up merging these services anyways. I think we're going to be getting a Viacom heavy-centric kind of streaming service at some particular point, because now they've got the entire Paramount movie library that they have yet to really start streaming on side of CBS All Access or even Amazon or where have you. So I think we're going to see some kind of merger at some point in the future. But as of right now, the shared number of subscribers is 10 million total, which doesn't put it above any of the top competitors, but definitely is interesting to see and is exciting to hear that so many people are, wanting to get invested in what's going on with Star Trek. And I really do feel like, yeah, they got the NFL and you got a couple of other things kind of, increasing the subscriber amounts, but I really feel like Star Trek is kind of the flagship, thing pulling in these people to kind of subscribe to their streaming service. So I'm excited for that, and I can't wait to see the effect that it has leading into Discovery and Lower Decks and Section 31 and all these other shows that are going to be coming out very shortly. Next up, the very quick story about how Patrick Stewart did go onto The View, the U.S. television show The View, and formally asked Whoopi Goldberg to return for Star Trek Picard Season 2 to the role of Guinan, which she accepted, which is very exciting. We knew just before the release of the first episode of Season 1 that the show had been officially renewed. We've kind of already known that for a few months now, but CBS came out and made the official announcement, and then Sir Patrick Stewart went on to the television show and asked her to come on board for the second season, which she accepted, which is great. So she's going to be joined, obviously, by Sir Patrick and probably other recurring TNG cast members. And we already know that Robert Picardo, way back in the day, almost a year ago, it feels like now, confirmed that he had been approached to, star in, or I should say guest star, as some, as the EMH inside of the second season of Picard. So we know that quite a few other returning cast members are going to be there. Now, I'm excited to see if they try to get some more DS9 characters to come on board of Picard. We've gotten now the TNG, and we've got some Voyager. Now I need some of those DS9 people to kind of pop in. And the final story that we're going to go ahead and talk about today is the fact that a lot of fans are really upset that the federal government is utilizing a very similar logo to that of Starfleet for the new Space Force that Donald Trump has put out. And many fans are urging Viacom CBS to sue the federal government for copyright infringement and that they're using their logo for that. I don't think that they're going to sue the federal government. It's possible, but I don't think that they're going to do that just because that's kind of a bold maneuver. But do I think the logos look very similar in style? Yeah, for sure. They for sure do, and it's for sure suspect, and I do think that they clearly use some inspiration. But from my own personal experience, I have worked with the Japanese Air Self-Defense Force, the JASDAF as they're kind of called, and their logo also looks very Starfleet in nature. It's not quite as the same as the Space Force one, but this isn't the first time that I personally have seen similar looking logos to that of the Starfleet. So it's not that big of a deal for me, but I understand why some people are getting a little fired up about it. But, I kind of get it. Okay, so that kind of wraps up all of our quick news stories for today. Again, I'm going to try to keep the Earl Grey pour-up focused on major news stuff as opposed to just, focused on reviews of Star Trek Picard. Keep that stuff kind of separate now. I apologize for the confusion there and for making things seem a little bit more complicated than they need to and making them a little bit messier, but hopefully moving forward that this kind of clears some things up there. Anyways, guys and gals, I'm curious to hear what you guys think about all these major news stories. Are you excited to see Section 31? Do you believe that Star Trek Discovery Season 4 has gotten its fourth season, or do you think that that's kind of BS? I think Production Weekly is a pretty reliable source, so I'm curious to hear what you guys think about that. And are you excited to see Whoopi and any other returning cast members for the second season of Picard? Throw up your ideas and comments down below, and let's go ahead and get the conversation started. Live long and prosper, my Trekkies!